we're back and we are having our first conversation for this morning. We are talking about the situation with COVID-19 and, of course, the direct implications it is having on the tourism sector. Here with us to tell us more is the Executive Director of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, John Burgos. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
John.
Yes.
Good morning.
John, let's just talk about where your members are today. What is the situation that they're in?
Well, what can I say? It's a crisis. It's something that nobody was prepared for, nobody has planned for. We know that people are putting certain measures in place to try to mediate or facilitate, the staff that they have, themselves, A lot of these people are investors, they have loan commitments, financial commitments on a monthly basis. Tourism is a vibrant industry which it's continuous, but now it's coming down to a full stop.
Yeah.
They see the airlines stop coming to Belize, you see borders surrounding us being locked off, and which prevents people from traveling. But in you are aware of what the implications could be the moment this virus reaches, or you're aware that it's here in Belize.
Yeah.
You're talking about a situation of, life and death.
Yeah.
The economic impact, we can bounce back. We definitely will be able to bounce back at some future.
Yeah.
But right now, what is really keeping the people really on the edge, I can see the desperation growing on a daily basis. The response from government has been a little bit too slow. You look at it on Friday. On Friday was 1 week that the cruise industry closed off. Thousands of Belizeans have not been getting any revenue since over the last 7 to 10 days. That gives you an idea. So, and these people have kids, these people have commitments. Right now, you hear about all the purchasing of goods to hold you over for the next 2 weeks, for the next 3 weeks. That is happening right now. If you don't have money and you don't have this income coming in, what do you do? Where do you stand?
Yeah.
And this is where we are concerned.
Let me be clear. Your membership organization, so you have tour guides, you have hotels, you have anything related to tourism that people are a member of your association. What is the sentiment? Because there's a loss of business, but is it also that they accept that this has to be done?
Well, let me tell you, people are trying to find a balance. Right now, most of the hotels over the weekend are closing down because they have 0 guests.
Yeah.
There's a couple of hotels that still have 1 or 2 guests, and some of them are permanently stuck here in the country because they cannot return to their country. So they're working together with proper protocols in place to accommodate them and try to make their living here conditions suitable. But people, they know how much they depend on business, but they are at the same time, they are fearful of catching the virus. Even though we don't have any confirmed cases, that doesn't mean it's not in the country. And I think that's where the fear arises. If you're in the number 1, number 2, 3, 4 top tourism destination in the country, I would put your destination as the high risk area because of the amount of tourists that have been coming over the last 3 months. This is high season for us. You have thousands and thousands of tourists from all over the world coming. So looking at the statistics and probability of having it in Belize, it's not 0.
So what's the cancellation like? Is it everyone has been canceled for 2020, or what's being communicated to the...
Not so far. In terms of cancellation policies, most of the hoteliers, they have their strict cancellation policies in place, but due to the crisis, they know that it's something beyond their control. So most of them have been saying, we're not going to give you a refund, we're not going to cancel, but we want you to reschedule.
Okay.
They're encouraging, and some of them are saying, you have 3 years for you to come back again and take use of this. So it's like you have a voucher now for your vacation that you already paid for the future, for when things, the crisis subsides and things begin to get back to normal. This is not the end of the world. Things are going to get back to normal at some point.
But the economic impact nonetheless, and we can't stress on that enough, the economic impact that this has had and it's not even confirmed to be here. The number of persons who have been sent home from certain hotels, from restaurants, from certain organizations that depend directly on the tourism dollars, it has been a ripple. It continues to swell.
I mean, you have to look at every aspect of what a tourism stakeholder is experiencing. If you're a hotel or resort, if you don't have no guests, you don't need no housekeeping. Your restaurant is going to be closed. Your tour operator is going to be closed. Your tour guides are not going to be having an income. So the only stuff that I know most of the properties, especially the larger ones, is that they're retaining their security people to protect the grounds, and then the maintenance people to ensure that everything is working, and and so an administrative staff, from supervisor to up, those people are down to a minimal. So I would say between 10% is what 10% of the staff is what some of these hotels
So
As
are
an
all these things
association.
layoffs? Have people just been laid off?
Well, I can't tell you that's across the board because different individuals are doing different measures.
Tell us the situation.
And that's the reason why we wanted to speak to Social Security, and the labor department, because there are many concerns in terms of the breaking of service. People, for you to benefit from Social Security, you have to be making 50 continuous contributions, and for you to qualify for any benefits. So what the response was that, if you can limit your staff to a minimum of 8 hours per week, you still qualify, but then you're going to qualify under that bracket, which still puts you at a disadvantage because you're, So, but across the board, I know most of our members, that the ones that have been reaching out to us, is that they're trying to see how long they can keep their staff at a reduced salary, even if they're not showing up to work.
So you have two class of workers in the tourism. You have this permanent staff and you have seasonal workers, right? So the seasonal workers,
are definitely off.
they've been laid
The
off.
permanent staff is the ones where they're trying to find a balance to retain them, and at least for the next 3 months. That's the period that most commonly being used, is for the next 3 months. They're trying to provide some level of
So what are
support.
they asking of these employees at this point? Because I think people don't realize how much.
No, I can tell you for one specific example. They told us that they're keeping all their staff and they're only giving them $200 a week for the next 3 months. It's a
That's
big
one
pay cut,
example,
but it's something that you can help yourself.
So
Let me
some
ask
people
you
are
this.
being asked to take vacation time without pay.
Yes, they
Some
have.
are taking
I
pay cuts.
I can tell you for BTIA right now, here at the Secretariat, I have a staff of 4. The board, we decided that up to this ending of this month, we're going to get our full pay. But starting of April, we're going to get 25% salary cut,
Wow.
and that's going to be implemented for the next 3 months, but the situation is still going to be assessed on a monthly basis. Our sources of revenue depends on our membership. So if members are not in business, we cannot force them or expect for them to pay us. But we still, and
So
that's
that-
one of the things that we wanted to assure them, that we still continue working for them. We still representing their best interests where at the official platforms.
Yeah.
John, as an association, where do you guys stand insofar as either liaising with BTB or government insofar as the allotment of monies that should come as relief for members?
Well, as you know, the committee the oversight planning committee that the Prime Minister established has key representatives that represent major groups. Our main contact with that, where we are providing information, is through Senator Salas.
Okay.
As you know, he became senator when he was president of the BTIA. So through him, we are being able to share all the information from our members with necessary recommendations. On Thursday last week, they came to us saying, we would like to know which hotels, BTIA members' hotels and resorts, would consider becoming a quarantine center in due case we find the virus being in Belize. So we did that for them. Up to yesterday, we had 18 properties that responded, 17 of them saying, yes, we would consider it, but we want to know how this would work. Government needs to provide us more details because,
Okay.
say, I'm not exposing my staff, which is not trained to deal with that
Yeah.
situation. So, we told them,
Is it
government,
for free or at a cost, or those details haven't been
like
worked
I tell
out?
her, we don't know those details. All
Okay.
government wants to know is which properties would be interested
yeah.
or would even consider the possibility
Okay.
of providing a centers. You know, and one of the members also said, you know, we're willing to provide free accommodations to hospital staff. You know, if you're going to be sending more staff to Placencia, they're
Yeah.
willing to host them at their
Okay.
free of cost. You know, and this is how the private sector is really coming to understand what the situation and what it will be required to help everybody, because this is a situation that affects every single one of us.
Is there any particular group that's hardest hit that you can think of?
Oh no, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're a hotel, if you're a restaurant, if you're a sports bar, if you have a spa, a massage, you have a gift shop,
Yeah.
you know, chocolate companies, all of these people are even affected.
Yeah.
Every single person is getting affected. I mean, and it's been for a while now, and it's only going to get worse. You know, so that's where the concerns are, and the desperation kind of begins to set in on a daily basis.
Well,
Because
there's already an economic depression as it is.
yeah, but it's going to get worse. It's only the beginning. And this is where we want to hear from government. I think we as not only tourism, but we as middle income employees, people that have loan commitments, you know, with these financial institutions, we want to know what kind of relief we're going to get. You know, we're not saying forget my debt, you know, but we're saying you have to tell us something that's going to give me comfort.
Yeah.
Like right now, we're having in a month is coming. I'm sure this is going to be the full pay
There
for
are
a lot of
loan
people.
payments, there are rent payments,
Utility bills. You know, you
Um,
want to go get your rations for your
yeah.
whatever food you want to stock
I know
up.
people have been putting the groceries on their credit cards. Those payments are going to be due.
Exactly.
It's-
So we need to hear from government. The government needs to let us know, and these financial institutions, what is going to be provided. You know, if you tell me for the next 3 months, Mr. Burgos, you don't have to worry about your loan payment for the next 3 months. We want to waive the next 3 months or move it forward to the
Yeah.
future. That automatically gives me
Some
a little
kind of
more
comfort.
cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More comfort that, you know what, one monkey off my back that I don't have
Yeah.
to worry this month.
So what are your members asking for right now? I think, so they have people not coming in the midst of what would be, this would have been the end of high season, right?
Not yet. Not
High
yet.
season ends
It
when?
it begins to decline around ending of April.
Okay. So
And
they
based on the
lost
figures
2 months.
before, they were saying that things were looking up good till April, May
May,
in
yeah.
terms of reservations.
Yeah.
So they
Everything
lost 2
comes
to 3
crashing down.
months of where they knew they were going to have income.
Yeah.
What are the concerns that they're putting forward to the association?
A lot of them are saying, you know what, I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything. And that is the hardest one, where you feel for them because you know how their business is structured and how dependent their business is on having that regular cash flow.
Yeah.
You know, and now that cash flow is completely gone.
Cut off.
So what do you do now? And I still have to make this, I still have these loan commitments
And salaries.
and salaries and my personal, you know, concerns about my family, my health, you know. And then you don't know. You really don't know when this is going to subside, when things are going to begin to normalize. You know, that's where the fear is. And right now, our neighbors unfortunately keep reporting new cases. The moment you continue reporting new cases, you know that the situation is not going to end anytime soon.
So what's happening? I'm sure you're monitoring what other nations are doing as well. There's the Caribbean Tourism Organization. There's the different agencies in the Caribbean and Mexico. Are they doing anything innovative that you see that you think is perhaps going to be good to be implemented here?
Oh man, that's a tough question. But you know, there's so many good things. I think that we need to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more aggressive to really understand the sense of urgency, especially to the people that are the lower income earners.
Yeah.
You know, these are the people that are going to begin to get desperate, and this is the majority of our population. I'm fearful of what decisions they're going to begin to make because they're concerned of how to make a living.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's where I see some of the measures. You know, look, I mean, you have to look at what El Salvador president has been doing. I mean,
Yeah.
he has been one of the most proactive and more aggressive leaders in the region.
Yeah.
You know, he closed off his borders. He tells, you know, I prefer to have the economic impact instead of having economic and health impact.
Yeah.
You know, right now, I saw the report this morning, he locked up about different groups of people that were out because he has put a curfew that
Yeah.
nobody should be out. And he says if these people want to expose themselves and endanger the rest of the population, they're going to be, they have been placed in
Detention,
camps,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
detention camps. He said, no, you're going to be in this detention camp for the next 14 days. No, 30 days. Because you're not following the precautionary measures they're putting in place. And they are ready to tell you that your loans have been deferred. You don't have to pay no
Utilities
utility
bill, yeah.
bills, you know. You need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, and right now
So
staying home.
you have no need to be out if you've been given all of these.
And let me tell you, me staying home,
breaks.
working from home, I don't need to have that a lot of cash. My expenses reduce drastically. Me cooking home and eating home reduces my cost of living
Yeah.
a lot. So my money stretches a lot longer.
Yeah.
You know, but you need to hear that support being provided by government. It can only come from government.
Yeah. Could you estimate just the amount of people that you know so far who perhaps have lost their jobs, the seasonal workers, and is there an estimate we can work with of people
No,
who
right
woke
now-
up this morning unemployed?
No, it's changing. It's too fluid.
Yeah.
It's too fluid. It's changing by the day.
Yeah.
You know, once you have something that fluid, it's hard for you to be able to measure.
Yeah.
You know, but every day we know. I mean,
But you're doing surveys with your
well, we had the Belize Tourism Board. We're part of this planning committee, and we decided that we're going to do an economic impact. And the BTV board decided to do it only for hotels and tour operators. And the reason why, because that's who they license on overseas, so they have the official listing, so they can match up. We are looking to send out a similar survey today to all other stakeholders because our membership is broad. We as the Umbrella Tourism Association, we have all sort of individuals and business that under the tourism that fall, and they have been reaching out to us and expressing their concern and saying, you know, we feel left out. You know, I own a restaurant. My business is a restaurant, and I'm not hearing anything about restaurant.
Yeah.
I have a sports bar. I don't hear anything about sports. I have a spa. I have a beauty salon
Yeah.
in San Pedro, in Placencia, that my 90% of my business is tourists.
Yeah.
You know, they tell like, what about me? You know, so we're looking to send that economic survey to see what is the impact, and we
Yeah.
want as much information. And that's one of the things that we want to let our members know. Please share this information. We need accurate information so that we can share with the government, so that they can look and have exact figures, so they have. So that they have a better understanding of what sort of aid people may need.
What is interesting when you look at it from a broad perspective is the fact that for years, tourism has been the backbone of the Belizean economy.
Yeah.
And now it has proven to be the weakest link insofar as this particular crisis situation, where you have the most persons being impacted by it and all the ancillary, if I may, all the extra, because when you look at tourism, it's not limited only to persons who are directly in this industry, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at
It has
all
a
these
trickle-down
other,
effect.
Isn't
Yeah.
that right?
people
Yeah.
who provide services and goods to support the tourism industry. All of those people are affected as well. So you're looking at goods and services, you're looking at commerce, you're looking at all these other, you know.
Agriculture,
Yeah.
fishing, you look at everything. See, and let me tell you, we many times we feel like people, you hear the figure of tourism being the #1 sector,
Yeah.
tourism contributing to 40% of GDP. I think now people are really realizing what that
Yeah.
really means.
That's what I'm saying is,
You know, and at the same time, it makes you realize that how important it is to ensure that we are managing this industry. We are ensuring that it's sustainable, that it remains vibrant.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot take it for granted that because it's the #1 sector, everything is good and dandy and everything is perfect. No, we need to ensure that we take care of this industry and that it continues to grow when the time comes.
John, you mentioned something so critical, and we differentiated between, you know, looking at established businesses like your big tour operators, your hotels, But there are also, people who do day tours. There are people who do bookings to transport people. Some of the smaller people who've been hired. With your role in terms of looking at what Senator Salas's representation, what's happening in terms of advocating for some kind of relief for these people? I think this is kind of the basis of what FECTAB is saying, that their fare is relying solely on the BTB means that the established businesses get taken care of, but the people who kind of just do the smaller jobs may be left behind.
Well, we got to look at see what Dr. Barnett and Mr. Coe are going to be approaching, because I'm sure they're aware of who all are going to be affected. I mean, I've mentioned to you the cruise industry just now. I mean, there's a lot of freelance people that do day, I mean, and they have not been getting any revenue, and they don't see any revenue coming in anytime soon.
Another one is taxi drivers. I don't know that their voice has been heard collectively at all. And I know that there were some who reached out to us in the media to kind of find out on their behalf what's going to happen with them. Because they're not tour operators per se, but they are also a part of, they're also a part of the industry.
As the Philip Bolson Taxi Association, what is happening to them? No flights. Their business is down to zero. You look at schools closing down right now. You know how many little vendors are out there providing food and little goods to the kids
all
there?
That is done with.
Their source of income is closed off for them. You get, I mean, it trickles down to everybody. And that's why I'm saying that this crisis is really impacting the entire Belizean population.
And we're still not saying that it is here yet. So when it is here, you could imagine that it will only get worse.
Well, that's where we're trying to, we're trying to put the measures right now. The best measures right now, like I'm happy that I live alone and I'm very in control of my environment, who I come in contact with, or, well, when I say contact, who I speak with, face to face.
Keep a distance
I mean, I'm not hugging people, and and I have my hand sanitizer in my vehicle as I touch. Sanitizing my hands. When I reach home, I wash my face and I wash my hands. When I came here, Stephanie told me, you need to wash your hands. I already did. You don't have to tell me that.
We have pretty strict rules here too.
No, I mean, but these are the things that you need to put in place and really emphasize awareness and understanding of how serious the situation is. When you look at what is happening in Italy and these nations that are reporting hundreds and hundreds of people dying, this is people dying. When you put something like that, it should sink into you. I mean, I had a friend last week.
People don't understand that this is the fear of COVID-19. It's not how the fatality rate, it's just how much it can overwhelm any healthcare system. Italy has, Italy has one of the more advanced healthcare systems in Europe, and they cannot cope. And I think that we need to do everything we can and learn from them to not get there. I think it's promising that you said that you've reached out to your members and they say they're willing to offer spaces if needs be. And that whether it's paid for, I think I heard, did the Prime Minister say that in his press conference, that they'd use hotel rooms? No?
No, he didn't mention.
I'm sorry. I may have heard it somewhere else.
But the message that we got, is that yes, they are considering some sort of compensation for using a facility. Which is understandably so. You can't just take over my facility and then I'm stuck with. I mean, it would be unfair to anybody that owns the proprietor of that resort or hotel.
But there's an openness. The private sector, the tourism sector, they're open to using the spaces for quarantine if needs be.
I mean, we had 17 properties countrywide. That's 17. I mean, that's addition to what is the hospitals and polyclinics and so on that are in place already that could be used. I mean, it's a big number. In my opinion, it's a very big number. Some of the hotels are pretty big too, by the way. I don't want to call names because I think it's not something that people are going to begin to rush. I don't want to create any such actions, But I'm very pleased to see how people are coming together and understanding.
I could only imagine what's happening with the local airline industry. Because they make a substantial amount of their profits based on moving tourists around the country. And so
they've cut down on flights, both of them. And it's only to see how much longer.
Well, I know Tropicare is the third largest employer in the country. So that tells you what kind of impact
Yeah.
is having on their business
Yeah.
and their employees.
It seems that both have just reduced the number of flights because we can still move around. That was reiterated this weekend. We can still move around. It's not advisable, but some people do have to do business and whatnot.
Yeah, well, it's dwindling down to zero. I mean, the economy is slowly coming down to a stall. I know right now, over the yesterday, some people were asking me about transportation, public transportation, what's happening. I say, you know what, I haven't received anything public, anything official from the transport department, but I know that, you know, a lot of these practices are being left to the bus lines for them to decide.
Yeah.
You know, and I know many of them are doing their part of sanitizing their buses properly. I know one of the Tillits bus lines made the announcement that they're no standees. They're only going to have people sitting down now in the buses.
And they're going to have standees to begin with, but that's another
thing. Maybe now we'll adhere to those rules.
You know, I mean...
And the water taxes, too?
They're dwindling down. I think they're reducing their, I mean, they're using, remember, they have different sizes of boats. And I think they're providing transport. And I know a lot of people on the islands are coming inland now because there's no work there. So they feel better at home, where town, villages, wherever they come from, they're heading back inland.
So what's your message to people in the sector? What do you tell them when they call? And I'm sure you said the calls are getting more and more desperate each day.
Well, we tell them that we continue to communicate directly with government. We're trying to let them understand that how serious the situation is and that our members, the tourism industry, need to hear something positive from government. And not only the tourism, the country, our Belizeans, our employees, you need to hear serious measures that are going to be implemented at least over the next 3 months. Give us 3 months period for us to really begin to look at. So we want our members to know that we continue to represent them. I want them to understand that for them to keep reaching out. I want to hear their concerns, recommendations, any information. I've established a very good network of communication where official information comes to me and I disseminate. So, you know, I've established that with Ministry of Health, you know, the government of Belize, Ministry of Tourism, you know, everybody. All the information comes to me and then we share with all our members. And we have been pretty good at that. And like I tell you, the communication right now has been constant. But you know what? That's what you gotta do in a time of crisis.
All right, and as you said, you keep on working. You get to work from home. That makes things a little bit easier in terms of your exposure. But of course, thank you for coming in and just keeping us up to date.
Happy to be here, guys, and stay safe, Belize.
That's
Stay
right.
home, Belize.
And wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
We're gonna go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.